When we think of American food, we usually think of McDonald's, popular junk food and candy, oversized portions. While America is advanced and aspirational in many ways, it's not exactly a top-of-mind country when it comes to health. But the ultra-processed, overindulgent patterns are just one side of American food culture. On the other end of the spectrum, parts of America are actually ahead of their time when it comes to overall health. They're more aware and conscious about what they should be eating, how they should be moving, how they should be going about their days, and they really make all of this part of their lifestyle and their environment. And if these small habits and lifestyle patterns are more emphasized, they can actually make a big difference in our lives, something the rest of the world can actually pick up. Hey everyone, if you're new here, I'm Kiara. I am a certified nutritionist, PR practitioner, and mom whose goal is to help simplify health and wellness for those who feel overwhelmed. I create videos on realistic ways we can level up our health and nutrition, as well as a look into nutrition cultures in other countries. If any of these sound interesting to you, feel free to subscribe and check out the other videos in this channel. So just for context, I spent the last month traveling from the West Coast to the East Coast with my husband and son. We flew from Manila to Taiwan to San Francisco, drove to Monterey, Santa Barbara, LA, and Vegas, flew to Canada, Vancouver, then Toronto, and finally, New York. So that's 8 cities in a span of 3.5 weeks. So these healthy American habits are mainly my observations as a Filipino tourist, as an outsider, so to speak. These obviously don't represent the whole population, and I'm sure that there are some habits that I missed out on since I don't live there. The first one is their structured daily routine. Around 7 a.m. in San Francisco, we got an Uber from our hotel to the Golden Gate Park. A young Uber driver picked us up, and as he was driving us, we asked him if he was usually up and about this early in the morning. He shared that he would wake up really early in the morning, get some morning Uber rides in, then come afternoon, he would head home to work on his second job. He'd also squeeze in a gym session mid-afternoon, then in the evening, he'll finish off with a few more Uber rides. It's pretty common for locals to have 2 to 3 jobs. It's become part of that modern American hustle and optimization culture. Health-wise, this can go both ways. Training yourself to have that level of discipline, structure, and high daily activity can be healthy. It's also impressive that on top of their full days, they intentionally squeeze in fitness. They try to manage their time properly to stay consistent. But on the flip side, that level of productivity can also come at a cost. It can sometimes mean lack of sleep, chronic stress or fatigue or burnout, or irregular meals or resorting to convenience food. The bottom line is that as long as they can keep a balance, not compromise their sleep quality, prioritize recovery and social interactions as well, their hustle lifestyle can actually go hand in hand with their health. Second is that they've embraced their running era. There seems to be a running boom all around the world. There definitely is one here in the Philippines, and I also noticed it in the US. Every city we went to had runners of every age. I'd see them run in the morning or before the sun would set. So why is running having such a moment now? It could be because it's one of the simplest and lowest maintenance fitness activities. You just put on your gear and head out the door. It's also mentally rewarding, social if you want it to be, and goal-oriented. It might also be because the weather when we were there was nice and cold. It was nearing the end of springtime, so it was around 12 to 18 degrees Celsius or 53 to 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Weather can pretty much dictate your running experience, so maybe more runners were coming out that season. It was great seeing so many runners since there are so many benefits to running or jogging. It's good for cardiovascular health, metabolism, maintaining a healthy weight, brain function, and even your mood. I didn't get to go to any gyms in the US, but I'm sure that these Americans also do other forms of fitness like weights, Pilates, high rocks, or pickleball. But running alone is already a great form of movement. Third is that on top of running, they walk a lot too. So this really depends on how walkable the area is and also what the weather's like. But in all the cities we went to, the walk rate of the people in the US is much higher than in the Philippines. In the Philippines, we get around through cars or public transportation because it's very hot outside. But in places like San Francisco and New York, we'd hit high step counts every day without realizing it. People from there walk to groceries, parks, cafes, restaurants, and places downtown. And the reason why this is great is that high daily movement increases your NEAT or your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is the energy your body burns from the daily movement you do outside an actual workout. So while structured workouts are beneficial, don't get me wrong, the movement you do throughout the day can sometimes have a higher impact on total calorie burn. So it's good to do both. work out, and walk around. Walking is also good for boosting the metabolism and managing blood sugar spikes, especially after a meal. So some Americans will have lunch, then after stand up, walk somewhere else, get those muscles moving and calories burning. So with the people living in America, movement is built into the environment, not always something you have to schedule. Walking every day, paired with a structured workout a few times a week, is gold when it comes to movement. And this is linked to the next healthy habit, which is spending a lot of time outside, weather permitting. Nature is our free wellness tool and mood booster. There are a lot of beautiful parks around the US, and I'd see people hanging out, having picnics, listening to music, and even older folks doing outdoor exercises. Even in big cities like New York, where it's basically a concrete jungle, there are green spaces where people can soak in sunlight, open air, and nature. But it's really weather dependent. During spring, summer, and fall, they're outside and enjoying the cool weather, but come winter, they end up staying inside for the most part. It's the other way around in the Philippines. During summer, we try to stay indoors as much as we can since the heat level outside can get dangerously high. It really depends on where you are in the world, but when we were in the US, it was nice seeing people choosing to be outside, relaxing, and managing their stress levels. Fifth is easy access to high-quality produce. I walked into local grocery stores, farm stores, Whole Foods, and Trader Joe's and found myself wishing that we could have the stuff that they had back in the Philippines. I'm not talking about oversized chocolates and candy bars. It's the quality of fruits and vegetables around the perimeter of the store. They're big, plump, and colorful, especially the berries. They'll really encourage you to eat better. There were also pre-washed salads, sliced fruits, ready-to-eat veggies, and quick protein options for those who'd rather grab and eat without the prep work. Having all of that around you at your convenience just lowers the barrier to eating clean. And lastly, they have a health-conscious food environment. Similarly, when you walk into a cafe or restaurant, there's a lot more attention to better-for-you options. They have a whole range of proteins, super grain bowls, smoothies, vegetarian dishes. They can be expensive or purely marketing, like for example, a beef jerky stick would say that it has 10 grams of protein, which sounds great as a snack, but it's also very high in sodium. Or a flavored yogurt with gut-loving probiotics may also come with 20 grams of added sugar. So it's okay to have these once in a while, we just need to be aware of those products that have a health halo, meaning they're marketed to be healthier than they actually are, so it's not really something we should be eating too often. When in doubt, just remember that moderation of anything is key. Having said that, there is a lot more awareness on things like calories and macros and ingredients, which you will see in menus and other parts of America's cafe and restaurant scene. In terms of food availability and movement, I do believe that Americans have an edge. The main pain points are really that, number one, their portion sizes are usually bigger than what's recommended, and number two, there's also a lot of junk food, sugar, and refined carbs around them. So if they are able to manage their portion sizes and limit their processed food intake, they will be able to maintain a generally healthy lifestyle, contrary to what others might think. There's definitely a spectrum from ultra-processed to healthy and balanced eating, and people are constantly navigating that. So in case I missed out on other healthy habits worth mentioning, do share them in the comments. And if you like this video, you might also enjoy my previous one on my 8 non-negotiables to stay healthy while traveling, or any of my videos in my nutrition culture playlist. Feel free to check them out and subscribe to this channel for more videos on simple and realistic nutrition, wellness, and motivation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.